Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on.
Leading up to this past week, and specifically March 18th, it was a day we was all looking forward to as Snyder fans. Zack Snyder's Justice League anniversary. Zack Snyder was counting stuff down and building up anticipation. And then the day came, and even before when the day came, Jules, a lot of people last week was asking us, like, hey, what y'all think's going to happen? I was like, well, as far as announcements, nothing can happen to the Paramount deal closes.
We've been saying this for literal weeks. We didn't just say it last week in anticipation for this date. Like, we've been saying this for weeks. Don't expect anything. And that's all we got. Nothing. Like, we didn't get anything.
Well, that means that, he posted this here, the trailer, the Hallelujah trailer.
It was a thank you to the fans. That's it.
And I think, like, at the most, we knew Restore wasn't going to be announced before the new owners of WB comes in. Like, that just made no sense.
Right. There's no way. He has no power. He can't announce anything right now. They can't greenlight anything. They can't make any theatrical moves. Like, I got into an argument with someone on Twitter over this. It's probably not an argument, but I'm just like, bro, like, we told you, like, nothing's happening. Like,
why, Jules? And like, in all honesty, I'm asking this question. Like, why do you think people thought that something was going to be announced? Like, how did that even become an idea?
Yeah, just because he keeps throwing these little teasers and he does a countdown doesn't necessarily mean that something major is going to be announced. Again, we always on this show, we always talk about people to use their common sense, right? And I know common sense is not that common anymore, but just be a rational human being. We know Zack is on the outs with Warner Brothers. He has been for years. I don't even know if they're even talking, right? Warner Brothers owns the rights to this IP still, whether they're going through a merger acquisition or not. Like, they own the IP. They're clearly not working with Snyder. Snyder has said it multiple times, and his team has said multiple times that they're only allowed to share so much, right? Like, they have to make sure they're not sharing something that's not going past some confidentiality agreement or whatever. So to answer your question, yeah, exactly. Agenda and clicks. That's what they want. People were literally upset at Zack Snyder for, I guess, leaving them on because he didn't make a big announcement. And I'm just like, I called them all dumbasses on Twitter. I don't care, because that's what they are. Like, why would you think this man that has no control over the IP, the ones that do have control over the IP do not like him? Why would they allow him to make some kind of announcement or do anything with the IP right now that involves him if they don't like him?
Yeah, and like I said, and that's one angle, and then just the basic message of this is the deal is not closed yet. And now Zack, he does have a good relationship with DeLuca and Abdi, and but they can't dictate DC now either under the current arrangement. That's going to change, we believe, when Paramount comes in, and Ellison loves DC. So we'll see how that changes after the deal, though. That's the whole point. It's after the deal. Currently, at most, I was saying, if anything, if Zack is going to, announce anything, it could be, they could put ZSJL in theaters, because that's something that can actually be done right now. You see old films all the time, old Batman films and stuff. So I was like,
they're not putting the Snyderverse in theaters. Like, that's not happening. Warner Brothers wants this to die. They've been pretty clear about that for years. Why would they put it in theaters all of a sudden? Like, that didn't make any sense.
And that's the only thing I would be like, hey, if they were going to do something before the deal, is my point, is that's as far as I could go with it. Not, announcing ZSJL 2 and 3. I don't know why. Why people was on that. That was kind of weird overall with that. But we're going to talk more as far as what Zack actually did here, because he actually put a lot in this message here. And OG fans, and even those that came after the cut was announced initially, it's still a lot here to be like, first, we didn't expect an announcement, but also, two, we still have a lot to look forward to and in this deal closing. So real quick, we got Nike Boy here with the super chat, says, agreed, there's no way he could announce anything, but is there hope? Is it still possible that Snyder knows something we don't? Jules, what do you think?
Of course, that's what this has all kind of been about too. I mean, there was a countdown just to celebrate what was achieved, because again, this was a for once in a generation, once in a lifetime, first time in history that the fans got something of this magnitude out there like that. Like, we were able to dictate a studio putting out a movie that they gaslit the whole world about. It's almost similar to how we bullied, I think it was Paramount was the one that owned Sonic to change his look from being that creepy live action hedgehog to being more like the video game. But this, I would say the Snyderverse stuff was in the Snyder Cut was in way bigger scale than Sonic, because Sonic was just like a weekend of just shitting on what on that trailer, versus the Snyder restoring the Snyder Cut was like literally a global phenomenon, like the execs at WB at the time were calling it. So he was just celebrating that. And again, there's always more to look forward to. That's what he's been saying. And there's no reason to think because he didn't make any major announcements that that's no longer on the table. And that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And so with this weekly show, again, I was telling Jules the past couple of days, I was like, we're going to kind of set some, I don't want to say ground rules, because I mean, we're all fans of this, but now that people were getting their hopes all in the wrong direction this past week, we want to kind of bring it back to, again, just the core of what we're doing here. Is first, we're waiting for this deal to close. That's what we've been saying since day one for this past month is, hey, we're excited. Yes. I gotta calm Jules down every day. She's just waiting for this deal to close to really pop off. Like, let's just wait. So we're excited, but that's one thing we're going to do here is, again, just kind of temper it and say, hey, the deal has to close first, guys. Like, that's the first thing.
Temper your expectations. Like, we've been saying this since day one, nothing's going to happen until the deal actually closes. Once it closes, then, we can figure out what they're going to do and in what order they're going to
then we're going to pop bottles live. But also, too, another tenet of this is, yes, Zack Snyder, when Zack Snyder is active, we know something's going on behind the scenes. So this is just watching Zack Snyder's patterns, and I'm going to go further into this in a moment, but Zack, he knows when to lay back in the cut, and then he knows when to get active, and he's been very active since last fall. Coincidentally, that's when WB went up for sale. You see what I'm saying? And so there is something there, and longtime Snyder fans, they were remind you of that. So just to answer you, Nike boy, is there still hope? For sure. This is Zack Snyder. This is Crisis Turkey again, before Cavill and Ben was coming back. Like, this is what we're in right now in this situation. Now, behind the scenes, we don't know the negotiations. We don't know until it's announced overall. So yes, hope is still there, but we still need some patience. It's the best thing I can say with that. So
the road is still pretty long. Like, we have to get to the end of this year, basically.
And like they keep saying with the Paramount, they want to push us through as fast as possible, but the thing is saying, like, by this fall, potentially. I say early next year because I just kind of buffer it. So we gotta get through this year, like Jules said with that. So appreciate you, Nike boy, and we'll do a Michael Jackson drop. Oh man, they're gonna hit me on that one. That music came in too loud. But appreciate you. So now we talked about what didn't happen, and I think to kind of touch on this, to kind of expose those who were pushing agendas and narratives these past couple years. These past couple years, I was actually, saying, hey, maybe this fandom needs new voices, right? So if this Netflix stuff was going to work, I was like, well, hey, I mean, there's new voices for that, right? I can kind of fall back and just, y'all do y'all thing. If they're really going to, respect Zack Snyder, restore the Snyderverse, but then you saw when Netflix didn't get the Warner Brothers deal, and then when Zack wasn't just making announcements out of nowhere, this exposed a lot of people's agenda. This has exposed a lot of people thinking they're Snyder fans, but like you said, Jules, you saw people, they were disappointed in Zack. Like, oh, Zack, you supposed to break a law or something.
Yeah, like he's like Zach's baiting us into something. Like, no, Zach has control of his own social media. If he wants to thank the fans in his own way by doing a countdown and celebrating the project, he can do that however he wants. All because you put your own expectations on it, and you were obviously wrong for plenty of the reasons we've discussed already. That's just you being a dumbass, and you're disappointing yourself.
So that's why we're centering this. Like I said on the weekly show, we're waiting for the deal to close. Yes, Zach is active, so we're excited. He still has our attention fully, and it's about restore the Snyderverse. I'm done with these offshoot spinoff hashtags and all this stuff. It's like, no, when it's first start off, release the Snyder Cut, and you had that as the center of the fandom, and we all was pushing for just someone to release it. It was released, it was announced, and then it shifted to restore. We want to finish Zach's story. Everything else, I mean, yes, Air Cut has an angle in there. Everything else, I'm not really entertaining anymore. It's about restore. So that's why I said nothing ended when at the ZSJL anniversary that Zach didn't announce something. Nothing ended right there. And we're going to dig more into this. You're going to see that Zach is the hope is as live as ever as we kind of dig through this as far as what Zach actually shared. So that's what we're going to do going forward. Now we got Paul here with the super chat. Let's see. Says, is there any upcoming shareholder vote for the deal? Also, if Zack Snyder leverages his Instagram to promote his Rebel Moon comics, do you think he can move 500K books? That's interesting. So the first part here, as far as is there a shareholder vote? Yes, I have to look up the date because I actually got an email. I'm a Warner Brothers shareholder as well too, and there is going to be a vote coming up with that. So I'll bring it up in just a moment. If Zach leverages his Instagram for Rebel Moon, do you think he could sell more books? Well, I don't know where the number is at now. Just to be quite honest, Paul, if you have the figures, I mean, again, I could look it up, but I think Rebel Moon, the graphic novels and things that he's coming out with, has found its audience, and that's why they keep making these books. So I think Rebel Moon is, I hate to say it, just like that's kind of where it's living now because Netflix doesn't want to do live action right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I don't need anything taking Zack Snyder's attention and time away from the Restore initiative, and that's what we're focusing on. And so if he wants to continue doing Rebel Moon as comics, they can always adapt that later if they want to. But right now, I just need him to make more CBMs.
Yeah. So like I say, I think the audience for Rebel Moon is there. I mean, I was probably the only platform that actually pulled up the numbers for y'all showing, again, Zach was given 166 million. He made 4 films out of that. And the engagement was there. Again, we talk about engagement, and Netflix wants that engagement. And me and Jules talks about this all the time, but Sarandos made it clear they don't want to spend that much money anymore on stuff, just for the engagement. So they want a cheaper production. I mean, that's the only way I could take it, Jules. Like he's saying they don't want to spend that much anymore. And that kind of, Zack Snyder priced them out, it seems like, the last couple of years.
I don't know. I think that's honestly just an excuse on their part. I mean, we already know how the politics are once Scott Stuber left Netflix. Everything, Scanlan came in, everything kind of just shifted the other direction. So, I mean, it is what it is. Zach has hopefully will be finding a new home as far as studio is concerned soon. So hopefully he'll get a blank check and he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see with that. As far as the shareholders vote, I'm expecting to get some kind of we could all do it virtually as shareholders, and I'm expecting something by the beginning of April. So they're trying to get this moved on as quick as possible for this Paramount deal. And so yeah, it's really kind of like an afterthought. I'm gonna be quite honest, like just the terms of the deal and the way Zazev has fully just 180 away from Netflix,
right?
Because he's going to get the bag as well.
He's saying, "Show me the money." That's what he wants. He just wants his money, and there's no other deal on the table anymore. So there is nowhere other direction to go. It's either you sell to Paramount or you stay in, as is, which is not what they want.
Right, and the price, Paramount technically is overpaying anyone that was going to buy this. Again, I don't know why people act like this is a novelty idea. You have to overpay in bidding wars. Yeah. So
It's just like when you're buying a house.
It's a benefit of the shareholders to actually take this deal, because you will get less money per share if you don't take this deal.
Mhm.
That's pretty much what's going on here. So that's what's going on. So interesting stuff there. Again, appreciate you, Paul. And I guess since the Michael Jackson stuff is popular, we'll keep going. All right. Michael Jackson always hits. And that movie's coming out next month. I'll be extensively covering that on one of my platforms. So looking forward to that. So let's look at what Zack actually did post. Right? Let's look at that. And we got it on the screen here. Now, the interesting thing leading up to this Instagram post, Jules, was it was kind of like a 4D chess moment that I just realized, like, oh, I see what Zack is doing. He did the post for Zack Snyder's anniversary, Zack Snyder Justice League, and he left it at 2/13, the day before the anniversary date, right? So why I find that interesting is the number 214 is in the lore of Snyder fandom. 214 is like a mythological number, and I'll explain further on that in a moment. But Zack did this on purpose, opening up an Instagram account last fall, did exactly 213 posts all the way up to March 17, 2026, saving 214 for the exact anniversary date, Drew. Just that in itself, like, Zack is a very cryptic dude, right? And so there's a reason he did that, I believe.
Right. I mean, and we've seen this in his work too, right? Like with the opening sequence of BVS is, very much in line with the fight scenes with Zod. So his brain just functions this way. Like, he's a very strategic thinker. So it's no surprise that he set it up in this way he had this whole strategy planned out from when he started this account.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And so when we get to that day, March 18th, the anniversary, Zack starts off the post, because see, while everyone was like, just, oh, Zack didn't announce nothing, like, oh my goodness, he started the post, the 214th post on his Instagram account. He puts 214. Like, I'm starting to question how big of a fan Zack Snyder fans people say they are. First off, Zack acknowledges, yes, you noticed correctly, 214. This is a 214th post. Now let's talk about that. So what do we mean when we say 214? Now, this was something during the release, the Snyder Cut days. The significance was there. 214 represents, this was a time when people back then said, oh, the cut doesn't exist, it's not real. And Zack revealed the actual runtime of 2017's Justice League, his Justice League, would have been 3 hours and 34 minutes. That was the 214, right? And so Zack started doing cryptic posts on Vero back then. This was like, it was 2019, I think. I think it was like 2019. He was starting to tease 214, where like, this cut exists. They could really release it as is right there. And then leading up to 2020, people's celebrating February 14th, 214 day. So Zack got into the festivities, and he posted this Valentine's Day in 2020. Now, what makes this very interesting is that in 2020, we know he announced the Snyder Cut in May 2020. So before we knew the cut was getting announced, Zack dropped this new shot of Flash at that time, commemorating 214 day. And so this is when Zack starts again getting active like this. That's why I'm so excited when he's posting now, Jules, because that's what he was doing back then before he could even announce anything to us. He was like, oh, 214. Yeah, here's a new shot of the Flash. Now Zack is like, oh, I'm just looking at old photos. Here's a new shot of Henry Cavill. Same energy, Jules, is the point I'm making with that, right? So just to get clear to people, as far as, again, 214, this Zack established the significance of it, and he openly was sharing stuff when he couldn't announce anything with us. So that's how I'm taking this post here for Zack Snyder's Justice League anniversary, Zack is like, it's the same 214 energy. He can't tell us anything until the deal closes, y'all. Like in 2020, he was trying to tease us in February. He couldn't announce it till May. You see what I'm saying? That's Zack Snyder's energy. Crisis Turkey. He couldn't announce Cavill was coming back. He knew Cavill was coming back for Black Adam. And Zack was like, I can't wait to work with you again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So same energy, y'all. Just him saying 214. I was excited with this post. I was like, oh, I'm like, okay.
I mean, and like you said too, is like he's also acknowledging that the fans were right about him making a tease, and that this post being the, you know, significant of something of this in particular.
Right. And again, this is for Zack Snyder fans. Those who are ignorant to this, or I don't know, I sometimes James Gunn's fans, they feel threatened.
A very insecure bunch. It's very strange. If you guys are winning so much, like, why do you care about what's happening over here on this
Are they
side?
winning? Are they winning?
That's what, according to them, in their delusional minds.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's pure ignorance. Well, first off, you gotta be a Zack Snyder fan first to even understand the 214 concept. So if you just nod, then you're just ignorant to that. But then two, knowing what he teased before, I just showed you the timeline with that. So, you know, people could blindly just, you know, be worried about James Gunn's contract, which runs out April 2027. Like maybe that's why they're nervous. Jules, he's got a year left.
Yeah, right before Man of Tomorrow comes out.
So I'm just saying. I mean, you know, maybe figure out what's going on with his contract, and don't speak about Zack Snyder.
Right, kind of worry about what's happening with your own universe before you start worrying about someone else's.
Just saying. So, again, that's just a 214 part, y'all. So when he posted that, I was like, okay, I'm good. Zack knows we was picking up on the 214 thing and what he's done before. Same energy. So again, that's what we're establishing here. Waiting for the deal to close. Zack is active. We're active. 214 now. Zack has put that into it. So, but his actual post says 5 years of Zack Snyder's Justice League to the fans, associate producers in every sense, who refuse to accept it doesn't exist and stood together with passion and will. This film lives because of you. Thank you for the 700. It talks about the followers overall and anyone who carried it forward. Hallelujah. And then this is the Hallelujah ZSJL trailer. All Zack was doing commemorating this was actually giving that day to the fandom, Jules. I thought that was really nice of him just to be like, hey, this is y'all day. This ain't a day for announcements, because I can't announce nothing right now, just like I couldn't in the past until I could, right? So this is about the fandom, Jules. And so if anyone walked away disappointed from this post, I don't know your intentions anymore, people.
Right, yeah. I'm definitely questioning you. Like, there's no way that you look at this post and just be completely disappointed and get mad at Zack because he just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to the fandom. That basically saved his career, because that's really what WB was trying to do. They were trying to bury Zack Snyder. Like, it was really ugly during that time. So this definitely helped catapult him back into like mainstream audiences. And people were literally begging for more after the Snyder Cut came out, and then Warner Brothers just said, "No, we're just gonna let it die. That's it. Like, you're not getting anything more."
Yeah. Now, to be fair, the regime has changed since then. I know you got a lot of smoke for Hamada and Toby Eric. DeLuca Abbey is there because I feel after the Paramount deal, you know, we assume it's going to close. DeLuca and Abby will, I think, help facilitate something as well as far as with Snyderverse. I think that's they're the ones behind Full Circle. So
they're clearly in tune with what the audience wants, and that's the mainstream audience. We're not talking about us nerds and the geeks and all those people that are like crazy or whatever, Rotten Tomatoes people. So yeah, if that's what the people want and they feel like that's what the mainstream audience wants and that's what's going to bring in the money, that's the direction that they're going to go.
Exactly. And as far as just that's one thing, DeLuca Abdi. Then you have David Ellison coming in here, Paramount, who, you know, wants to do big DC films, just big films with all the IPs. So you may not have a lot of time for like a little Clayface film, which I think, like I said, I think Clayface would actually do decent. But David Ellison, that wouldn't be a film he would greenlight. Oh, let's do a small Clayface movie. I want the Justice League. I want the Trinity. That's what Ellison's going to come in looking for. He wants Darkseid, right? So that's two angles there. And then the Saudis, we already know their connection with Zack Snyder. So we got a lot to look forward to as far as with this deal, the potentials of that. So interesting stuff there. And those who I will say this, Jules, I saw people acting like they were disappointed that ZSJL 2 wasn't announced.
Yeah.
I did see plenty of the fandom getting into understanding it was their day to just celebrate the film.
Celebrate themselves, celebrate the film. Again, this was one for the history books. Something like this is never. We bullied a studio to releasing a film that they gaslit the world to saying it didn't exist. And in fact, it did exist. And we also helped a director go through a very troubling time in his life. Like, he was not in a good place when all this stuff went down. Like, there was just so many layers to this whole situation that the normies just don't understand. But if you followed this from the beginning, like, if you're a fan, it's personal because you know how messed up the whole situation was.
For sure. And so that's how, because at first I was thinking, okay, is Zack going to say again the whole, hey, they're going to put a special screening of it in IMAX? I like that would have been cool if DeLuca and Abby did that. But again, nothing was announced.
I don't think they have the power to, because again, it's under the DC studios. James Gunn is not going to want to put that on IMAX. And then also, if you put it out in IMAX, this is going to send mixed signals to the mainstream audience. It's like, all right, so why are you doing this? We're going to get more of this movie. Are we not? Like, it's too much. It's going to muddle.
Probably the timing of it is one thing. Now, as far as like WB distributed, I know DC Studios is one thing, but WB distributes the films. And so just technically, just like they do, again, the Batman 89, they put that in the theaters like every year. That's technically through Warner Brothers. Now, it could be some, timey-wimey stuff as far as with that. I think right now, like you said, let this gun stuff play out. Let's not confuse, the general audience.
Exactly. That's where we stand.
And once the deal closes, then we'll see what adjusts with that, right? So interesting stuff there. But yeah, so I was very into, again, just Zack Snyder's Justice League anniversary day for the fandom, and it landed with me, and I saw it with a lot of people, and a lot of people really pushed forward. Hey, it's still about restore. We're still waiting for this deal to close. I see everyone's energy kind of moving. This, me and Jules been on this, for over a couple months now. We've been on this, so not to gatekeep it too much, but y'all kind of getting in line with what we've been saying, waiting for this deal. Zack is active. We're still looking forward to what Paramount and the Saudis do. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at with that. So now on the Paramount side, let's kind of get more into that, because again, there's a lot of misconceptions out there about David Ellison. They think he's his daddy, Larry Ellison. It's getting a little annoying, but that is what it is. But a lot of people, Jules, was saying Paramount's going to get this deal because he's friends with Trump, even though Trump publicly kind of denied. He's like, I really don't know this kid,
Right.
I know his daddy, but I don't really hang out with David like that. So a few things came out about this process here. The DOJ came out themselves and said, we're not passing this deal, because of some political agenda. It's going to have to go through. Now, it passed that preliminary, the stuff that Netflix, Sopranos was in there getting drilled. Like, Paramount doesn't have to go through that. But they are going to go through the proper checkpoints like this is any other company, meaning some people may have to get lobbied. They may have to grease some palms a little bit to get this through.
As with all their deals, all these people in all these departments are rich.
And Ellison is ready to do that. That's why he's so confident in this getting closed. But with the DOJ themselves coming out saying this, now, a lot of people, if you have your agenda saying, oh, this is a MAGA company, you're not going to hear this. But they're saying this point blank, Jules. Like, yeah, this actually isn't about politics. This is business that we're doing here. And I'm glad they came out to say it, but I know most people are going to ignore that they said it.
I mean, everybody wants to make everything political these days, unfortunately. But the Department of Justice I'm pretty sure those people are not elected. Those are like actual regular people at jobs. Like probably not regular as far as like a regular salary. I'm sure they get paid a whole lot more, but it's not like they're like like a certain number of Democrats, certain number of Republicans, certain number of independents. Like these are just people that were assigned to do these jobs. So no, they're not really beholden to a select party. They couldn't just be a group of people that are, who knows what their political alliances are. And of course, obviously, came out because they see everyone saying that they're just going to approve this quickly because of the whole alleged Trump connection. So they definitely want to nip that in the bud. That way, when this inevitably does get approved, they just kind of want to get ahead of that story a little bit.
Right. Exactly. So I think that was very smart. And again, people that's parroting these anti-paramount stuff, messaging out there, it's just pure ignorance if you're still saying David Ellison is close with Trump. Again, we talked about who David Ellison, actually, he was supporting the other candidate last run. And all this stuff doesn't matter. That's the point in all this. All this doesn't even matter. We want to get to the entertainment. But since people want to keep repeating ignorance, they had to come out with this statement. Sadly, actually, that they had to even do that. So, and then here, you hear about some of the states coming up trying to block the deal, and specifically in California, David Ellison strategically, again, he has a great team around him, because I know he was kind of stumbling a couple months ago, but he has a great team. They're attacking all angles, and he wrote a letter. He's going straight to the states since they're trying to mount up something to try to block the deal, which you still need federal to block it. But states, if you get enough states together, they can make some noise and slow down the deal.
Cause some delays.
Yeah. David Ellison is being very proactive. As it says, he sent a letter to the California lawmakers outlining a plan to keep local Hollywood jobs. And that because the state's argument is, some of the states are saying, because of this huge merger, there's going to be a lot of casualties, synergies that they say. David Ellison is going right at them, explaining to them, okay, this is how I'm actually going to keep jobs. Now, Jules, one thing I just came across on this is a big part of the synergies, when these mergers happen, you can't have too many overlapping jobs, right? People are going to lose their jobs in this. But it's strategic that Ellison is saying, no, I want to keep Warner Brothers. Now, I'm interested in DC now. We'll talk about that later. But y'all do y'all thing. So that's going to maintain actually a lot of jobs with Warner Brothers. And obviously Paramount is going to be a separate studio still as well. Just in theory, Ellison's over both studios. But one of the financiers of this deal, Jules, said a lot of the synergies cost that's being cut is actually infrastructure, like marketing. So you can't have too many overlapping marketing teams. So that's where a lot of the job loss won't be actually at the studio exec side as much, but just more of the ancillary stuff with that. So
marketing is always one of the first things to get cut, unfortunately, in any business. You probably get marketing. You probably have some operations that get cut because you don't need multiple people doing the same job at HR. You can have one HR department overseeing both studios, right? Trying to think what else, maybe they're compliance people, it's the same industry, so you don't need multiple compliance teams. They can probably just have one, maybe expand to keep a few people here and there. Obviously, you're not going to cut it 100%, but you're probably going to cut a good amount, at least 25-30% of people will get cut in those white collar office roles, unfortunately. But that's just the nature of the business. Every industry does this.
And so I think, like I said, very proactive of David to just be like, hey, well, this is what I'm going to save. People can, again, every merger has those casualties, and not to make too much light of it, but I think they're going to be okay. But I'm
sure they'll get nice severances.
I'm pretty sure they're good. But he's still detailing, okay, let's not focus on, the normal stuff that gets cut. Let's talk about what jobs I'm actually going to keep. Because if that's what these California lawmakers, if that's really what they're worried about, if they're not just trying to do this, we're trying to just take out Trump somehow with this deal. I don't know how it becomes a Trump thing. If it's really about protecting people's jobs, then David Ellison is telling you he's protecting actually local jobs for you in California. So why are you mad, basically, is what this is saying. So And then the final thing, David Ellison says he hopes to build a stronger Hollywood, save jobs. Again, he's great agenda there. He's getting his messaging together. I'm actually going to save jobs by keeping Paramount and WBD operating separately. I just think, Jules, it's just good messaging from him. That, it's a lot of internet people that wants to pretend they know what's going on with the deal.
Of course, yeah. Everybody's a financier. When we were talking about the deal, now everybody knows the ins and outs of Hollywood. Everyone knows the ins and outs of HR. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ellison has been trying to be proactive about a lot of things from the beginning of this whole process, whether it's sending the letters to those, the lawyers sending those letters out in the beginning to make sure that the bid is being fairly reviewed, that the shareholders are getting their value. They also hired their own legal team that understood the DOJ process to get this merger approved as quickly as possible. So no surprise here that he's covering, all the bases and making sure that this goes through as smoothly as possible. And I'm sure he knew this was going to be a hurdle. I'm sure he was just waiting for California to come and try this.
Yeah, so him just really, again, being proactive, going directly to the states, I think that's going to kind of calm them down a little bit. Again, they initially said, "Oh, it's because it's going to lose a lot of jobs," but a lot of it, again, it was because of the whole Democrat-Republican thing. Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of the white collar jobs and 9-to-5s might get cut, but if they actually keep their promise of doing 15 movies per studio a year, you know how many people are going to get hired to be on set, extras, camera people, more screenwriters, more production people. There's so many jobs are going to be created. So this is just a misnomer, I would say, just some more propaganda to try and get people all riled up, because that's all the media does these days.
Right. And that's why I bring up these topics again with our weekly show, because we want to attack this information head on. You see a lot of loose talk online. And if there was anything wrong with this deal, like I said, me and Jules would have shouted it out months ago. It just seemed like everything was actually right with this Paramount deal. And the Netflix was the side that was a little leaky. Now you see they don't have a deal anymore, for reasons with that. So I think, I'm here just to actually get to the facts of this and not my own agenda. I could tell you my own biasness, but if it's not with reality, what I'm saying, it is what it is. Someone saying DOJ is literally political in nature. I mean, technically, yes, but someone buying Paramount, they're saying it themselves. They don't want to make this about politics. They're telling you this.
It's now, the same DOJ that approved Disney buying Fox. So what does that say about them?
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I'm going to go off what the actual information is. Y'all can still feel how y'all want to feel, but it's not going to change the facts. That's the point with this. So y'all come up with different excuses now that you think Paramount's the boogeyman, right? It's just overall. Now, another thing too, I don't have a clipping of that. People, I don't know, Jules, if you saw people, they was trying to say, oh, maybe the sovereign nations will pull out of the deal because of the Iran situation. Did you see anything out there?
I know.
Someone tweeted it.
Why do people come to these conclusions? Why would this stop anything? They're not even involved in Iran.
They had a lot of followers online. The person that tweeted it had a lot of followers.
I don't know who tweeted that, but that's some of the stupidest rationale I've seen in a while.
Again, the deal is already signed, y'all. The deal that I'm going to vote on in the next 14 days, it includes the sovereign nations, $24 billion. That's the Abu Dhabi, Qatar, and the Saudis.
What's happening at the Strait of Hormuz is not going to impact this deal happening here in America. Sorry, guys.
It's a little sad. It's a little sad. Again, I know. Hey, people have their favorites. You got the Netflix influencers. They're upset, right? So they want to find anything wrong with this deal. Don't matter where it's originating. As I always tell people, always consider the source, not just some random person on Twitter who doesn't, just because they just wanted Netflix over Paramount. They don't want facts. They just wanted what they wanted, right? Now, they're going to lose jobs. Well, he's detailing how they're going to keep jobs. So you got to come up with different excuses now. Oh, it's because of Trump. The DOJ is saying it's not because of Trump. So I'm just saying, y'all can come up with new lies, man. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Overall with that.
Stop the rage bait.
And we will address any information, because if something goes wrong with this deal, me and Jules are going to be here to cover it. And we're going to be very transparent. And, but right now it's actually flowing pretty good. Ellison's doubled down saying he feels it could be closed by September. So we'll see.
Right. Yeah.
We'll see with that overall. So interesting stuff. We had to get a little business talk in there, but hey, that's why, we're here again to see this deal through, and we got to talk the little business behind it. Is all good. Now, let's hopefully we can lighten up the chat a little bit with
so
some Spider-Man.
What is going on?
Your mama. No, but it's like first off, like,
calm down, boys.
We're just here for the entertainment.
Yeah.
Yes, James Gunn has 1 year left. Y'all need to explain that. You Guns fans, y'all shouldn't be talking anything.
How many times we have to discuss that? I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
I'm just saying.
We just have to sit up here repeating ourselves every week.
You worry about Zack Snyder, and it's like you should be worried about James Gunn. He only got a 6-month extension. Just saying.
They'll be mad at us because they don't even want him around when Man of Steel actually debuts. Like, that's sad. That's a you problem.
Yeah, that kind of is. That kind of is. So, and yeah, like I said, if you have something about the DOJ, I'm sorry. We're about the entertainment. Now, this is their statement. We're going to see how fast this closes. We'll go from there.
I don't care how this gets approved. I just want to close.
Just be quite honest.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I want content. Give us more content. I want 30 movies a year. That's what I want.
Exactly. And like that was a great point you said too. Like, there's going to be more jobs. Both companies, they only made like 10 or 12 movies a year up to this point. So they're going to up the ante. More money's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as well too. So that's what we're
infusion.
Here for.
That's what every business needs to grow.
Yeah. So that's what we're here for, y'all. And again, we'll any other things you hear on Twitter about this deal, I'm sure we'll talk about it again next week and likely debunk it overall. So let's get into again Spider-Man. Now, definitely this trailer. I saw it now probably nearly 100 times now. The things that we saw in this trailer, and we're going to talk about a few things that kind of stood out in this, Jules, but just your impression of the trailer, it kind of just felt like a love letter actually to Spider-Man animated fans, in my opinion.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, as someone that grew up watching the Spider-Man animated series, and that was like my first introduction to Spider-Man, I've loved anyone that knows me knows that I absolutely love that series. And yeah, there were definitely a few things here that reminded me of it, but also kind of disappointed me at the same time because it was not as good as what we got from what we can see so far. But yeah, this shot right here definitely excited me because I was like, yeah, we're getting like a man spider. Like that's such a great chapter in the whole series, right? And if we're going to get that live action, oh my God, I just hope they don't mess it up.
I think we're definitely getting the man spider in. Because when he woke up in that cocoon in the trailer and like his powers to change, I'm like, okay, this is the neogenic nightmare. This is what literally Spider-Man animated series season 2. So the director was it Dustin Cretton. He's obviously loves Spider-Man, not only the comics but the animated series.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and so this was a animated exclusive. This storyline about Man Spider. So he's bringing that flavor to the film, and I'm really excited about that. And Punisher, Punisher in the trailer. I'm seeing how they're going to kind of do that because I still think yes, he's big in the animated series. Jules, right? The Punisher was actually a part of that arc, the Neogenic Nightmare.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I get that, but I just hope like the tone, like I hope they don't water down Punisher. To be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Netflix already did water him down just versus what we got from Netflix. I mean, Disney watered him down versus what we got from Netflix back in the day, which was like super dark, which is what Punisher should be. But it's Disney, they're not going to go too dark with anything. I'm surprised we didn't get any color in this trailer.
Yeah. So again, I like that. I like the Punisher side. I like the hints towards Man Spider. I think that's going to be exciting. Obviously, they're hiding a lot of stuff. In this trailer. That's what Sony does every time. No Way Home, they was hiding Maguire and Garfield. We knew they were there. And so people are talking about this shot where it's like this huge open space of Spider-Man jumping.
And a lot of the ninjas are looking directly ahead. Meanwhile, there's nothing there.
Right. That's literally what they did in No Way Home. Dude, I got that shot where it's basically showing there in No Way Home. They had where he was jumping up the top here, and you had an open space where the two other Spider-Men were, and it was actually an international version of No Way Home trailer where a lizard gets punched by an invisible force. in the film, you saw it was actually Garfield kicking him in the face. So it's like Sony does this. Sony and Marvel, they do these weird things where they just like, nothing, everything's here, nothing's missing.
I mean, right, Spider-Man is their biggest IP right now that still has solo films going. So I'm not surprised that they're going all out with it, or seemingly with all the hints and the teasers.
Mm-hmm. I think Spider-Man will show up in Daredevil. I don't know. I don't know if Sony...
I don't think so. I think Daredevil is a better chance Daredevil shows up in this than Spider-Man.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. On the series side, I don't know how Sony's kind of mapped out, that deal with Marvel. I don't know if they can allow streaming, him to be on a streaming show. But, or they don't want to. I should say they don't want to. But in a movie, yeah.
There's levels to this.
Exactly. Like there's TV money and there's movie money. Yeah. But Daredevil, I think they're hiding Daredevil. That's what this is just me just speculating. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, if the hand is in this.
Yeah. Exactly. That's where I'm at with that. Maybe Hawk's fighting with Spider-Man. So this is another theory out there. They're saying maybe the ninjas are the fake in this, like they're just covering up, they're a placeholder where Spider-Man's probably jumping at Savage Hulk. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's cool. I like that idea too, so we'll see.
I think what he's saying here is the Hulk is here helping him fight the hand.
What are you saying? Fighting with? Oh, with? Okay, got you. Oh, that wouldn't be fair if you have Hulk jumping.
I don't think the Hulk is in this shot. But obviously, if Bruce Banner is here, then I would definitely expect the Hulk out coming at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, the Hulk's coming in some way. Him versus the ninjas. I'm not sure. I think, like I said, I think Daredevil could be here.
It could somehow be the Punisher somewhere. I don't know. On a rooftop.
I'm not sure what the Punisher may, but possibly, but definitely Daredevil. Maybe throw Elektra in there. I don't know. Like, someone said Elektra. Just do Daredevil and Elektra. That'd be dope. I'm not expecting, like I said, the Hulk fighting the ninjas or like Jean Grey. People are saying they think Jean Grey is in it. And this is a good time to plug my on my Patreon. I talked about Sadie Sink's character potentially. We got and with the trailer out, it's kind of, I think, clear who she is, but I go more deeper with the Patrons over there. That's a separate platform, patreon.com/sylabdul. Check it out. And we're gonna have a lot of Spider-Man talk actually over there. So yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, the Spider-Man trailer, it was just a teaser. We still got more of a fuller trailer to come. And I like just what they were alluding to in this. I'm looking forward to this film coming out with this July, right? So
yeah, this movie's going to make, it's Spider-Man. It's going to make a nice buck.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be huge. And if they really go through with what we're speculating they're going to do, is easily over $1 billion.
Yeah.
What this film's going to do.
And who's Keith David playing? That's what we want to know too.
We are, because we hear the voiceover.
That's his voice. I know that man's voice. That's his voice. I don't.
He's playing coy. He hasn't denied it. He's just playing coy out there.
It's him. It's definitely him. He has a very distinct voice.
A lot of people think maybe he could be Dr. Connors. I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't
be mad at that. I'm usually against race swaps, but Keith David is just really cool. So I'll be happy to take him on here as Kirk Connors and possibly the Lizard. He'll bring a nice gravitas to the role, honestly.
It's certain roles, because like I said, I think we kind of have the same worldview on as far as like unnecessary swaps and trying to like tokenize people. It's certain actors. I don't care. They can do any of these roles. Keith David, like I said, has a gravitas to play whatever he wants.
Yeah, I look at it like as long as it's not like an A-lister, right? Like you're not race swapping Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman, or
for political
Spider-Man.
reasons and stuff.
That's just stupid. Or like Peter Parker Spider-Man, obviously, or Captain America, right? Like there's just a lot of significance in those characters. But however, like the secondary characters, in some aspects, Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like Perry and Superman, right? Like that was fine. He's just their boss.
Yeah, Perry, that was a very just seamless. They just swapped it just out of nowhere, and it didn't miss a beat. You see what I'm saying? And that's why if you just want to get the best person possible, for this character that you envision, then yeah, I don't mind.
As long as it doesn't affect the lore too, like that's important because sometimes a lot of backgrounds are important to someone's lore. So as long as that's not impacted, then usually it's fine.
Because like this is it was an idea a couple years ago. They was like Denzel Washington should play Magneto. And I'm like, huh? And I'm like, the lore of Magneto's character,
he's literally Jewish.
He can't be a black man. Like this, come on now.
Yeah.
I know it's Denzel. Denzel can do whatever he wants, but no, for the character, for particular characters, don't mess with the lore like that.
Yes,
don't do that.
Yeah.
So Dr. Connors, I'm sorry, I mean, he's gonna turn to a lizard, so you don't even know what color he is when he's a lizard. So,
right.
So it really don't matter, to be quite honest. And it's Keith David, okay? I don't accept any Keith David slander.
None at all.
Out there. That's Spawn himself, okay? That old HBO show, which they fumbled the Spawn franchise, the IP. Like they could have been milking that.
They've been trying to make a movie about Spawn. I think Todd McFarlane was working on it a while back, and I don't know what that was years ago. I guess it fell through.
No one wants to pay for it. I don't know.
I don't understand why. I think it's I think the problem is Todd McFarlane. He just wants complete control. Yeah, I think he just wants too much control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a personal thing. Like he could sell the rights like in his sleep, and someone could make a Spawn.
Just license them. He doesn't even have to sell the whole thing. Just license it.
He wants, he does
complete
want like a franchise, but he's wasted like 20 years.
Yeah,
like
there's no reason why we're not having Spawn movies out right now. This is like the optimal time for it.
It really is, and so that's his own fault. Unfortunately, I mean, Jamie Foxx is attached to it. I think that'd be great. He would do great as as Spawn. After he gets burned, like he would look great. Jamie Foxx
is an amazing actor. Yeah, that would be great.
So that's all on Todd McFarlane. So we'll see what happens with that. But so Spider-Man, like I said, excited for it. More breakdowns with the patrons. We'll talk more about this overall. So let's get back to DC. I had to acknowledge Spider-Man for a moment here, but get back to the core of this platform, of this weekly show, I should say. We're talking WB, Paramount, Saudi's DC, Snyderverse, business behind it as well. But DC, there's been more to this story of the Lanterns backlash that I didn't see this coming. Like when the trailer came out, me and Jules spoke our piece. Jules has a clip on Instagram that went crazy with views that I put out. And her thoughts on that trailer of the Brown Lanterns, they're calling them that overall. But very popular comic book writer Grant Morrison has come out against this Lanterns show, or he has thoughts about the constant jokes, or what is Damon Lindelof? He was like joking about the Lantern's name. So let me bring that clip back up because we talked about this before with what he said.
So you just announced
this dude is annoying. Every time I see this guy sitting with his
punchable face. Why are you so flexible?
This is upsetting.
As a man.
It's called Lanterns because we all agreed that the green was stupid. So
right.
So now
so this is the writer of this show. That's Lindelof on the right. He's jumped out. See, okay, let me go back. Because he's the one volunteering this whole stupid narrative.
Right.
So you just announced a Green Lantern show. It's called Lanterns because we all agreed that the green was stupid.
So the first thing that people said,
nobody asked why it was named Lantern.
Right, exactly. He volunteered that, right? So people say, well, he's on a comedy show, so he's just trying to fit in. I don't care what show you're on. You show reverence for DC characters. It's actually that serious.
Just paying respect to the source material. One, and second of all, like you said, he he provided this information. Like, his tone was not in a joking way. He wasn't trying to do a ha ha, I'm gonna lighten up the conversation. No, that was the first thing out of his mouth. Like, he couldn't wait to let people know Green Lanterns is his dumbass name, and I'm just gonna call it Lanterns.
It's like just no reverence. I mean, again, you come up there and you're like, oh, you got the Superman film. Yeah, Superman's stupid. You got this dumb suit on.
What a dumb name. Super.
Like,
who even says super anymore?
It's like, bro, I don't want you to make that film now, right? I almost didn't want Gunn to make it, but I gave Gunn a chance. But it's like you can't just bastardize these characters, man. Like these are mythological characters. That's how Zack Snyder sees DC characters. Yeah. He would never joke, oh, Lanterns Green sounds dumb, huh? Come on, man. So let me restart this.
So you just announced a Green Lantern show. It's called Lanterns because we all agreed that the green was stupid. So
right.
So now it's just,
and you didn't even get that many laughs off of that. That's you played yourself.
Right.
Everyone that funny.
And he said so it was a group think situation.
So this is on DC Studios. This is on the creative team. You greenlit someone that's talking about the character. Oh, it's just a comedy show. No, show some respect. Seriously, it is that serious, man.
Announced a Green Lantern show. It's called Lanterns because we all agreed that the green was stupid. So
right.
So now
like two people laugh.
So Green Lantern, the lantern. So
awkward.
You can make anything you can imagine. That if you have this,
I didn't like that little giggle. I don't like this. For if you're
like he's just shitting on it just for just to do it.
So this is just silly to you?
You can make anything you can imagine. That if you have this magical ring, right? Yes, and the fights are still close. Yeah.
First, they didn't get a lot of laughs. That's the first thing. So that was your joke fell for nothing. What was that for? What was that for? Even if I'm just here joking. If you don't respect the source material, I'm sorry. Like I don't have a lot of faith in what we're going to get in this show. Just to be quite honest. So,
I mean, he said enough with the trailer, and now this is a cherry on top.
But now the trailer makes more sense to me now.
Right, exactly.
Because we're dealing with someone who, again, this is just a joke. It's just a magical ring.
It's a paycheck.
Yeah. Now, Damon Lindelof, he actually had a hot name probably like 10 years ago. And if people remember, he was going to do one of the Star Wars films, but they turned down the script. And I probably see why. But then we got Rian Johnson, so I guess I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I want to Lindelof. But the point, he ended up doing the Watchmen series, and I don't really think that series was that great. You know, he wasn't adapting. Yeah, he wasn't adapting anything from, like when Zack, he adapted the actual graphic novel to a film. Zack did from page to screen.
Almost panel, yeah.
So he covered the whole story. Then Lindelof comes in, does like an original spinoff, continuation. And I just thought he got a lot of the characters wrong. He introduced. I love Regina King in there. She's great.
No, she's amazing.
But I think she was kind of wasted actually in that story. I mean, the concept of a Watchmen series, you should nail this. But they tried to force a lot, just certain politics. They tried to force into it, and I just wasn't really feeling. He actually tried to do stuff depicting the Black culture, and just sometimes, not all the time, but just sometimes, I feel you probably should have a writer that can attune to that better, not just some white guy. I'm just gonna be quite honest with that. And so it was a couple misses in that show for me. So I don't have a lot of confidence in him coming to Lanterns. On top of that, he's joking, he's crapping on the Lanterns IP overall with that. So that's just where I'm at with that. So after this, internet went crazy when he made this joke about Lanterns. And now writer Grant Morrison actually came out and had some choice words about him joking about it. Let me see if I got his quote. Or do I have the quote? Yeah, there it is. Grant Morrison. He says here, Lindelof's comments, notwithstanding the Green and Green Lanterns is not stupid Why does a writer attach himself to this kind of narrative if he thinks it's fundamentally stupid? So again, all we could do, Jules, is take Lindelof off his words. He inserted the whole stupid thing. The comedy guy wasn't even trying to say that. He was just like, "Oh, you got this show," you know.
Right. He volunteered this exact quote.
All right, and so Grant Morrison, like I said, he's kind of went off about this. Like, if you think lanterns are stupid, why are you doing the show? That's one thing. He says you don't hand CSI scripts to patronizing writers who condemn forensic experts and their haircuts are stupid. So why hire people who are ashamed and in denial about the comic book material they've been assigned to develop? This is a serious question. You're gonna see a lot of gun only fans out there, and the guzzlers that just want to take everything that's given to them. They want to just be like, oh, this outcry about lanterns. These are just non-knowledgeable comic book fans. They don't really know the lanterns lore. Well, Grant Morrison is saying, no, that's not what this is about. You don't respect the character, Lindelof. That's the problem that people have. Now, there's trolls. I understand there's real trolls out there, and I get that. Like, there's people, they wake up every day and say, fire James Gunn. I get that. Like, I'm not that extreme. But seeing that Lanterns trailer, and really this suit, the excuses I'm hearing about this suit is ridiculous. First off, this should not be the first image of a Lantern suit. It's fine if you have an old suit somewhere in this show for some reason. Don't make that your first look that you release to advertising your show with a bad suit. That's just silly. That's bad marketing, in my opinion. That's bad first impressions, right? And so, again, people that's trying to downplay this, Jules, saying, oh, they're just a small minority upset about this. Well, no, he upsetted hardcore comic fans, and I think Lanterns fans with this, Jules.
Yeah, and I think people kind of underestimate, like, I mean, the comic book fans might not be the majority, but they're pretty loud enough online where, like, enough of the general audience sees it, and it stays in the back of their minds when they do end up seeing the trailer, the show, or the movie, and they know in the back, well, the geek said this is not, like, really accurate, or there's problems with this, so I'm already going to be slightly turned off about it. And then when the quality is complete crap, which is what we've seen, it's just going to completely destroy any kind of success it might have had if it kind of would have stayed closer to the source material.
Yeah, and as far as like I said, the quality of it, I'm of the opinion where, again, I'm actually looking forward to see the performance of Aaron Pierre and Kyle Chandler. It is maybe this shouldn't be a Lantern show. Maybe you should have just did an original, create some new characters or something, and just let them cook in a small rural town or whatever you want to. Don't name it Lanterns. Okay, don't make it Lanterns. That's my initial problem with that. So Grant Morrison continues. He says, why don't they turn down jobs they're not suited for? It's not like he needs the money, and Lindelof has proven that he can come up with his own ideas. What is this jockish dismissal of superhero conventions intended to prove anyway? Does Lindelof imagine it makes him seem less nerdy? It's a bit too late for that. That's kind of a cap. So what's this all about? He said the people who only give a F about the Lanterns TV series are Green Lantern fans. Why alienate them at the start? That feels more like stupid. I mean, I see no lies detected here from Grant Morrison, Jules.
No, and then I just want to piggyback off what he said regarding they should turn down the job. First of all, no one in Hollywood is voluntarily turning down a job. It's a paycheck, it's a credit, right? Like they need it on their resume. They want to get future work. And yeah, sure, Lindelof has already a decent resume as it is, but still, you want that to grow. You want to keep your name out there. That way you get future jobs. However, I would put this more on the studio. Just because you should just do your homework. Like if you really care about these characters, really get a real list of writers who would not only respect the source material, but is actually passionate about the character and actually wants to work in this particular genre, because there's not that many. We know this, but there's a ton of budding talented writers out there that are looking for work and would kill at the opportunity to make a show like this. But yet they just regurgitate the same old names that they're used to for whatever reason. And then you get people like this who have absolutely no passion at all for the genre, making shows that we all hate.
Like Morrison said, he's like, you alienated core Green Lantern fans, like
Right.
from the start.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad someone of his caliber came out and
Mm-hmm.
said this, because the fans can say it all we want. However, someone in the
Mhm.
actual industry who is obviously a comic book legend to many, saying this, like, it's a big deal. And that's why it's on the Hollywood Reporter.
Right, exactly. Yeah, when the trades start picking this stuff, because this is just something he kind of wrote, like I think on one of his platforms, and it's gotten picked up by a lot of different trades now. And so, as fans, they could just dismiss us. Say, oh, they're just, they hate James Gunn, or let's not worry about that small minority. No,
Right.
you're upsetting actual comic book writers. The stuff. This is the people that's supposed to be inspiring you to do these shows, and you're taking them off, right? And so Morrison ends off. He says the show might even be good. And this is what I'm saying. It's like they actually may be a decent performed show. I'm just going to hate that they're using a Lanterns IP. That's where I may land with this show. He says, but how much better could this stuff be if studios were willing to hire the right people for the job instead of phoning their embarrassed friends to water the source material down? I mean,
Right. Exactly. Perfectly put. Yeah. Just regurgitating the same old names.
And that's a shot at Gunn right there.
Yep.
And,
again, he's the head of DC Studios. He's the one making all the hirings.
Yeah, and everyone wants to make it like, oh, Gunn's going to respect the source material. And then, first off, no one's really straight adapting stuff in it, like how Zach did Watchmen. No one's really doing that anymore. Straight to screen.
It's no longer a requirement.
Yeah, so they're doing their own versions of these characters, and I'm fine with doing an original story. That's how the pay gets broke down too. If you actually take a comic story, you got to pay them some royalties and stuff like that. So you want to do some original ideas, I get it. But respect the lore of these characters. That's the whole point. If you're going to switch things up, and try to do an original story, like Grant Morrison is saying, don't water this down just because you want your friend Lindelof to get a job. Nah, that's not what this is supposed to be for. And I just think he's unqualified. Just based off what I've seen, again, with his Watchmen series and some other stuff, I don't like Lindelof a part of this. And seeing the trailer, I definitely don't like it. And then now knowing that behind it, he actually probably hates these characters. He thinks it's stupid.
Right.
It's like, come on, man.
It's a slap to the fans, a slap in the fans' faces.
Yeah, that's literally what this is. And so since the trailer came out, again, we covered this a couple weeks ago, and I was going to leave it there. Like, okay, we'll see what happens when the show comes out. I give every show the acolyte treatment. You tick me off the first 3 episodes, I'm out. Okay.
I mean, 3 episodes is enough to know whether or not you like a show. That's sometimes it's more than enough.
Yeah, sometimes, like, because that finale, the premiere, usually put a lot into it and that trick you. Then the second episode and third episode, it kind of, falls off.
Yep.
I could like take me off all 3. Like it was no redeeming.
Terrible. That was awful.
And so I know when to pull out, right? And I was like, okay, I'm done with this show. I'm glad I was, because I saw everyone just being tortured with this show, watching it online. And I saved a lot of time in my life not watching it. So just a couple hours, I'm happy.
Yeah, after watching that show, I made a note to I'm never hate watching anything ever again.
Right.
This is torture.
Once you feel it, like in your mind, your heart, like I'm not rocking.
To myself, yeah.
Break off. Just break it off. Like it ain't worth it. It really ain't worth it. So